This is a video that I didn't want to make, but I know that I have to, and I kept putting it off. And I would say, oh, I'll do it next week. But if I wait till I'm ready to do it, I'm never gonna do it. So someone very dear to me, who I consider family, at the end of June this year has passed. Someone who was very young, had their whole life ahead of them, and that someone, her name is Lyra. Lyra was such a wonderful part of my life. Every day, getting to see her, spend time with her, her adorable little meow. She was only a year and almost 3 months old. This is harder than you can imagine. It has been so hard. I watched her be born. I helped the birthing process. I came to check on her every day. She was my friend's cat, who was living with us. Her cat became pregnant and had kittens. I loved them so very much, and me and Lyra were just soul bonded, and I knew that because every time I would come to see her, she would come up to me, and she wasn't like that with other people. She was like that with me. But every time I came in the room, it was always her, and I knew that we were meant to be. And I begged my friend, I begged her to let me have her, because somebody else wanted her too. And at first she wasn't going to choose me, but she had a change of heart, and I thanked her so much. I hugged her whenever she decided that, because I knew that I needed this cat. And I was also pregnant at the time, and we wanted somebody for our son Atreus to grow up with, because we're not going to be ready for another child for a very long time. So whenever we do have one, it won't be close to Atreus' age. And I wanted him to have a friend that he could grow up with. And Lyra was going to be that friend. And she was. Whenever we brought him home, Lena didn't really care about him, but Lyra was like so interested in him. Whenever I was feeding him, she always wanted to be around. She always wanted to like sniff him and see what was going on. He thought that she was really interesting too, as he loves cats. But yeah, unfortunately she's gone. She had liver disease. I won't go into too much detail about this because just thinking about it hurts. But the first time it got bad, it was more gradual. We were able to get her to the vet in time. They got her some medicine, gave her fluids, and within a few days, she started to become herself again. But a couple of months later, it got bad again, and it just all happened so fast. It was horrible. We just woke up in the middle of the night. I want to say like 4 or 5 a.m. And she was just laying there, shaking. Every time we tried to touch her, like she would shake, like touch meant pain for her. We rushed her to emergency vet. I put her in a cat carrier, and I wish I would have held her on the way there, but I didn't want to put her in any more pain, and it seemed every time we touched her, she would shake more. So we rushed her to the vet. We got her there. They took her in, and a few minutes went by, and they called us back, and she was gone. They didn't even get a chance to put her down. We didn't get to say goodbye. She passed while she was back there. were too late. And I still blame myself. There's just this voice in the back of my head that won't go away that says, if I got her there a little bit quicker, maybe she'd still be with us. And I feel awful. I feel like a horrible cat owner. Gary says that we should get a new cat eventually for Trace to grow up with. Because Lena, well, we have Lena still, but she's 5 years old. But I just don't think that I'll be ready for that for a long time. It's never been easy losing an animal. I've, of course, lost some people to death in my life, but never anyone that was very close to me. And people may say that I'm lucky, but I don't think I'm very lucky because I've lost a lot of animals. I grew up on a farm. We've always had a lot of animals. And it's never been easy. I've always taken it very hard. Which I guess I should be used to it by now because, like, I've seen so many deaths and I want to have a whole bunch of animals eventually when I'm ready. Won't be for a while, but how am I going to do that when I can't stand their death? I've literally, whenever my first ever cat died, it took me a very, very long time. It sent me into a really deep depression, even though she was elderly. I knew her since I was a baby, and every time the time of year comes around that she passed, I always think of her. Another animal that died, a horse. I had to cut a close friend out of my life who I'd go riding with a lot, and just I couldn't stand it anymore. Like, whenever I looked at her, I always thought of him. And looking back, I'm sure that wasn't the right decision. I know, I regret it. We should have healed together, and I since apologized and made up with her, but we never got close again, and that's fine. She's happy, but the point is, I never take these things well. No matter what anyone says, it's not easier than losing a person. It can't be. Of course, I don't know, but it can't be. I'm closer with animals than I am most people. There's very, very few people in my life that I would say I'm as close with as I am my animals. And Lyra was very special. She was always so positive, so loving. She loved being around me. She loved being around people. She loved to play. Lena was not very social. She didn't really like her that much. She always tried to play with Lena, and Lena didn't really like it, but she still loved Lena. After she got spayed, we had to keep her in a cage at night, and Lyra would always sit by the cage door and visit her whenever she was in there. She would always check on her. Sometimes she would lay there and sleep next to her. She was such a good, kind, loving soul. And this world will never be the same without her. At least my world won't. And now, here she is. Our beautiful Lyra. We were going to have her buried, but I rent this place, and when we move, if we buried her here, she'd stay here, and we wouldn't be able to come back. And I couldn't live with that. And as far as afterlife goes, I'm kind of agnostic with it. I don't think hell is probable at all. I just think that's something that people made up to scare people into following a religion. I think there could be some reward after death. I'm not sure if it's heaven or reincarnation or something else. It scares me to think that there's nothing after death, but I think that's also probable, which is very terrifying, and I'd like to not believe that. Something that seems like it makes a lot of sense to me is spirits, or ghosts, if you will, whatever you want to call it. I don't exactly understand how it works, but my boyfriend has experienced a lot of things that isn't very easy to explain if you believe that spirits don't exist. And I've experienced a few things, nothing too extreme, but I think it's quite possible that spirits exist. And I hope that she will come visit us sometimes, and that's why I chose to keep her near. I'm gonna bring her wherever I go. So that way if she wants to visit us, she can. If that's how it works, I don't know. I hope that she's happy. I hope that she's moved on, but like she also has the option here to visit us every now and then if she wants to. I haven't felt her presence yet, but my boyfriend, Gary, has. My partner, I should say. He has felt her next to him once whenever he was in bed trying to go to sleep. And he also said that he swears he heard her meow. He experiences these things way more often than I do. He's just that kind of person. I guess I'm not, but I hope that it will happen. After my first cat passed, I think she did visit me because I saw her in my dreams, the same dream every once in a while. She visited me, and I really do believe that it was her. We have Lyra here. Anytime she wants to come back. Sometimes I talk to her. She will always be close to us, very dear to our heart. She had a very short life, but there were a million great moments in that short time that we had together. As my shirt says, Unis Honest, remember death, I believe it means. And the whole message behind that is death is coming for everyone. Sometimes we may know when, most of the time we don't. And it may be very soon. And once it's gone, it's gone. Once that person or that memory is gone, it's gone. We can always look back and remember it, but we will never get it back. We will never get them back. So we need to love everyone dear to us and appreciate every moment that we have with them, because we won't have them forever. And I did. And I'm glad that I got to spend the time that I did with her. She had a wonderful life, even if it was short, and she'll always live on in our memory, in our heart. And I guess that's about it. I'll be back to posting videos now. I've already come back to some other platforms. I just knew that before I posted anything else here, I needed to make this video, and it was just too hard for me to do for a long time. But I finally done it. To anyone who's stuck around while I was gone for all this time, thank you. I hope you understand and stick with us here on the channel. We love you, Lyra. Here comes the trail of goofballs. Good girl.